Yeah, go ahead.
No,
Okay,
isn't that a scary sound?
a little bit.
It
Just a
freaks
little
me.
bit.
When I practiced a little bit ago, it really freaked me out because I wanted to know what it recorded. I couldn't remember. So,
All right, thank you. Thank you for recording, Julie.
yeah.
Um, Welcome to everyone to our very first webinar. I'm hoping for this to be a continuing series for MichMATYC throughout the entire year. I'm going to be taking notes and Julie's recording the meeting, so both will be posted on the website and also sent to you through email afterwards. The first thing that I was just going to ask is how's your semester going, and how's your classes going? Because we are teaching very differently across the state, I think. Some are doing hybrid, some are doing asynchronous, some are doing synchronous.
Right. Yeah. Sam, what are you doing?
Okay, let me tell you what. Can you guys hear me well? Yeah. Okay. Most of our offerings are in a synchronous way. We call it live without the drive. Just to create it. Like an attractive name. To attract the students to it. It's called live without the drive. LWD. So all of my classes, are online, but I do meet with the students. You don't have to meet with the students 100%, just of the time allocated for the course. Some of us do 50%, 75%. I do like the 75%. However, I'm teaching a co-requisite course this semester, and I find it a bit challenging, to teach those students, just from distance. Those students who can make use of every single bit of time in a minute that you can do with them face to face. So it is a challenge for me. I'm hoping that I can meet this challenge this semester, just and most of those students will be successful in the class. But other than that, it's been working okay. We got used to it, from the transition, last winter. We're better prepared. We're using better technologies. So we're very equipped, just for this time. But I can tell you there are always pros and cons, just for this. I can tell you something as far as using office hours. I'm I'm fascinated, just with how many students have been using, just my office hours online because they can drop in anytime they want. Whereas when I was on campus, they had to make an effort to walk to my office, etc. Now I'm telling them I'm available from 12 to 2, and every 5 or 10 minutes, students will drop in. So I kind of like, just this. And I think, just things after COVID-19 are not going to be the same as before COVID-19. There are things that we learned that they can be useful as far as using technology, even more useful than doing things the other way. So I think lots of things are going to change. We're changing things. Administration is going to change, things. So I don't think we can go back, to the way we did things before.
Yeah, probably not. Probably not.
Yeah.
For Lansing Community College, our entire there's only certain courses that are actually meeting on campus. That's like medical tech and nursing, and I don't even think the technology like welding or machine tech, I don't think they're actually meeting. Just the nursing and health and human services, dental hygiene. In terms of math, we're just entirely online. Even developmental math, which we've never offered online before, but we offered it for the first time online this summer, and it seemed to go pretty well, even though I didn't teach it. But let's see. The students, going back to what Sam was saying, Julie and I were talking before the meeting. If I can remember when my office hours actually are, then I'm sure the students will actually benefit from it. It's just I'll just lose track of time too easily online and just not sign in or something, and I'll just look at the time and go, oh, I'm late. So but all the math courses are online. Asynchronous, about 60% of them, and then synchronous, we call it online real time, where the students have to meet in person or sign into WebEx or D12 and then WebEx at specific times during the week. I'd say that's about 40%. But there are some courses that we're offering that's only asynchronous, like college algebra, only asynchronous. Mathematical literacy, only asynchronous. It's mostly the STEM courses that are doing the synchronous online real time.
So you guys all had to make that designation for the schedule then, so the students would know?
Yeah, the registrar called it online real time, ORT, so the students would know.
Okay.
And it would have specific times in the schedule book, and online would not. It'd just be TBA.
Right, right. So did you get to pick?
Full-time faculty got to pick.
Okay.
Yeah. And then parts, I think that's why the STEM faculty decided to go the synchronous way. They just want to make sure they could actually teach in person, but.
Right, right. So Vilma, you said you want your classroom back. What's going on with you?
As you may know, I am in the School of Education. I'm not in the math department, but as part of an agreement with my dean, I was able to secure 2 semesters of teaching in the math department, which I was so happy because I hadn't taught math for the longest time. And this was the term, the first term that I was given the opportunity. Yes. So not only is hard going back, mode of teaching is really a different pace. Like education courses is a very different pace than teaching these courses, for one. And second, not having the board. I really miss the board and writing on the board and erasing, and my handwriting is terrible. So first 2 weeks I was just trying to make sure that I have a surface to write and way to show what I was writing. And
Right.
so has been really a learning curve for me in many areas. So I'm teaching Calc 1, and I don't know how much you know about the Calc program here in Michigan, but we teach in small sections, so we have 19 students.
Oh.
There are about, I think 96 sections. And yeah, a lot of people. And I don't know whether you follow the news, but we had a strike for almost 2 weeks. So that was about 60% of the sections didn't have a teacher.
Wow.
Oh, yeah. Anyway, it's a lot, but we're getting ready for, so our sections are all synchronous. So we meet at the time that we're scheduled to meet, and we do group work. So 3 hours, 3 days a week, 80 minutes. A lot of group work. Exams are joined. So it's a common exam. It's going to be online via Zoom. So I don't know. There's a lot of logistics.
Yeah.
Then, yeah, most sections are meeting online. I think we only have a few people wanted to teach face-to-face. So I know there are some faculty who are actually going to the classroom because they have small classes and they're teaching. I don't know how many people are doing hybrid or Calc 1. I'll interpret everybody's meeting synchronously. So I meet from 11:30 to 1, Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday. And the students have to watch videos outside, and they have to do web work, a bunch of activities. And before class, they have to complete some activities in web work. I don't know. There are a lot of things that they have been doing, but the interaction face to face, that is what for me is so and surreal. I'm like, I don't know. So,
Yeah.
but I tell you, I love it. I love it. I just love it. Like I was telling a colleague the other day where that I really like when they make mistakes because I have been researching so much about that. I was like, oh yes, tell me more about it. I want to know, how did you get that? So it's like, yes, I tell my husband, look what somebody did today, and it's exciting. I mean, I don't know, it's just
Right.
so I'm having a lot of fun.
Yeah. So are you using small breakout rooms inside your class then? Yeah.
Yeah.
For the group work?
Yeah. So one of the things advantages of having a large coordinated section is that the coordinators are creating short videos for each section.
Okay.
So we use the huge Harvard blog, whatever. and we cover one section per day. So it's really fast. But then they create these short videos, like 3 minutes or 8 minutes long, and they put them up there for us. So we don't have to do that. We only have to go, I mean, I only have to go and, you know, ask questions if there is anything in the lecture or explain something that I felt was like a little, and then just do group work. And yeah, so that has been, anyway, it could be worse, but it could be better, of course. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Janet, how are you handling your classes?
I just live in this little back room all the time, and I go out and I take a 2-mile walk every day outside
Yeah.
because you know, you're
I
not
know.
doing anything else. You
No.
know, from here to the bathroom isn't as far as it is at OCC.
That's true.
You know, from here to the classroom, I'm here. You know,
Yeah.
I don't have to go from the parking lot to the car, you know, none of
Right.
that. So
Right.
I've been pretty good at my 2-mile walk every day to get the steps. But
Yeah.
I have made movies for all the sections in, well, one of the classes I'm still working on them, but I'm using last semester's movies in the classes I taught last semester. So I'm not remaking movies every semester.
Right.
And then I meet them at the time of the class on the first day of the week. And then I don't meet them on the time of the class of the second day of the week, if it's a 2-day-a-week class. And so we meet about half the time synchronously, but those are not required. And so today there was only about 9 people that came out of 27 or 26 that should have. So, you know, I mean, that's on them, right? It's not,
Right.
I'm giving them the opportunity. I'm not requiring it. And so you choose. It's 11:50. It's kind of hard, you know, but
Yeah.
11:50, that's intermediate algebra. You know how that goes. So,
Right. Right.
anyway, and so they watch the movies, they do their online homework. Although Calculus 3, I have 2 sections of Calc 3, I just say, go do homework. Do enough homework. Here's one worksheet, one problem of each kind that I want you to turn in.
Right.
Go do homework. Figure it out. You
Yeah.
got a book. I don't care if it's this book or that book. Do some homework. You know.
Something, right?
You should know how to do math homework by now.
Yeah.
And how much you need, because different people need different amounts of math homework, right?
Right. Yeah.
So here's a suggested list from the book we're supposed to be using, and that's the one that I refer to if I'm doing anything.
Right.
But here's a list from the book we used to use. Go find that one. You know, doesn't matter. They're all the same.
Right. Right.
And so then it's just the tests that are, you know, I watch them on Zoom and deliver them through D2L, and I make them sign up in a Sign Up Genius so I know who's coming to which session, because I can't do them all at the same time. And so it works. You know, I use the groups in D2L to make sure that the right people get the right test and all of that.
Oh.
It works okay. And anyway,
Pretty
it's
good.
all right.
Pretty good.
You know, as long as the students do their job, everything's good.
It doesn't matter how you're doing it, right? They students just have to do their job.
Right. Right.
For
Right.
sure. Yeah. So I'm a little bit different. I meet my students, you know, even though Janet and I are at the same school, I do meet my students every time that the class is supposed to meet. We don't necessarily meet the whole time because it's not always effective, but at least I'm touching base with them, you know, that twice a week. Now, college algebra, you know, we usually talk the whole time. We get doing problems and they want me to explain something, or I put them into groups and then I start visiting and I might forget to look at the timer. I just added one to Chrome today because my watch was dead and I'm like, oh my gosh, sometimes I forget to set it to remind me to get you out of the breakout rooms, you know, because you start going to visit and you start talking, you're like, oh no, here we go.
Yeah.
But my STEM students and my teachers' students, they watch videos just like they would have if we were, you know, meeting face to face still. And then, you know, I've got some problems that you just can't, it's not like handing problems out when we're on campus. You can't just release them right at the time that class starts because it's not the same. They freak out. I learned that fast. So I let them know kind of like what the next level problems are going to be like before we meet. And then that's what we talk about. So they talk about them in their groups. I've been kind of tracking their progress on, oh, and I talked too long, then we lost Jennifer. I've been trying to track their progress with, I tried a couple things like Jamboard from Google, Desmos activities, Google Doc. I think Desmos is my favorite so far, except for everyone gets one, yeah, right? So, but it's kind of cool because you can see what they're putting for their answers instead of having to go visit all the groups. Yep. Or waiting for them to report. It's almost like, not quite, but it's almost like listening to them when you're in the classroom and kind of knowing where they all are. You can do a little pulse check and look at their screens and see what they've got. It's been working fairly well. Fairly well. Hey, Anna, we didn't say hi to you when you came. Sorry, we were chatting.
That's okay. I was struggling to get on. Yeah.
Hey, Anna.
I needed to update Zoom and stuff.
Yeah. Don't you hate it when that happens? Well, are you updating Zoom because you're not teaching this semester, correct? Yes.
I'm not teaching this semester. You are right.
Smart woman.
Girl.
Yeah.
No, I'm actually being terrified that you guys have all learned so much and I'm going to be behind the game when it comes in the spring.
But you're coming to things like this. That's good. You can commiserate with us, I'm sure.
Well, MichMATYC was this past weekend.
Okay.
And they had 12 people participate, so that was kind of nice.
Yeah.
And they did a little bit of this also where they were sharing, but they did their business meeting and voted on their various things and whatnot. So.
Very good. So what secrets did you learn from them? We need intel here.
You know, I learned a lot of things that scared the crap out of me, like Wisconsin, they're switching how faculty are getting their loads to be by the quantity of students and not by credit hour.
Oh, wow.
And a lot of their colleges, the standard load is 21 credred hours. And I just was like, oh my gosh.
That's a lot. That's
so,
a lot.
Yeah. I'm curious how you guys' enrollments are doing, if you don't mind changing topics a little bit. KCC, I'm going to make these up because I don't remember exactly, but we're down like 17% in enrollment and 19% in contact hours or something around that, which just, it concerns me tremendously.
Yeah.
Wisconsin, some of the schools were up and some of them were down. And I guess I'm just curious how everybody else's colleges are enrollment-wise going.
I just learned yesterday, this LCC's down 15%, which I'm kind of shocked because in terms of math, we're offering just as many sections. It has to be the technology that's just taken a complete plummet in terms of enrollment for us. Or I think the Gen Ed might be okay, but it's just the other areas.
Right.
And Michael, the other areas I think could be social sciences.
Oh yeah.
Students are rushing to take, those STEM courses because they can see an opportunity to pass those courses right now. So they're rushing, just into taking care of them, and then they can handle. We've had, although our enrollment is only about 3%, just down when comparing it with last fall, but we see a decrease, just in the number of courses in humanities and social sciences mainly.
I actually don't know. I know the School of Education doesn't even have as many students as we were projecting to have. But I really don't know. Math department, I have no idea.
I think we're about the same, aren't we, Janet?
Oh, see, I got the information.
Uh-oh.
You're 2.5% in credit hours below, negative 2.5. and 6.7% in head count.
Oh, okay. Look at you, Sam.
I know. Do you have mine too,
stats?
Sam? I'm
I
just
can
going off
share-
my board
I can
minutes.
I can send you this list, guys. We get it, just through the college.
I was gonna say, do you teach stats or something, Sam?
I guess,
You
yeah.
had that pretty quick.
No, I got the Excel sheet in front of me.
We expect a full analysis along with your email.
So are you guys mainly doing Zoom for testing? Is that what I heard?
Uh,
That's what
Elsie?
we're gonna be doing, yes. So we proctored the exam. I mean, the exam is, there will not be anything proctored, like the college decided, said that we are not gonna hire any firm to do any proctoring. So they encourage people to have other forms for assessment of the exams. But the math department, at least for the intro program, decided to have the midterms, 2 midterms are going to be 2 hours. It's at the same time, everybody. I hope this thing doesn't crash because it's 1,600 students taking the test.
Yeah.
And they are supposed to be there with the video on, and I'm supposed to be watching them, but they're not doing any funny business. And then they have 90 minutes, so they have to stop, and then they have 30 minutes to upload all the pages into Gradescope.
And it's going to be a handwritten test?
Yeah, everybody, handwritten piece of paper, blank paper, put your ID and just write and take pictures of every single piece of paper and upload them. Because we cannot, I mean, if they, no calculators and no decimals. so I don't know what the exam is gonna look like. But then for the final exam, which I really like, they got away, we were not gonna have a final exam. Instead, we're gonna have mastery, 3 mastery exams. So one mastery exam is on derivation, another is on integration, and another one is something else, and they are staggered. So one is open like the 3rd week in October, the other one like the 3rd week in November, and the last one. And then students will have like a window of 10 days to complete them, and they will have like 6 opportunities to pass them, which I found like, whoa, yes, I like that. So that's what the final exam is gonna be. So that's a big thing here. They're trying to do more mastery.
Yeah.
I don't know. So we'll see. We'll learn a lot from this next exam.
Yeah. So Mike, are you proctoring online at all? Like yourself or?
LCC has decided not to have any proctor testing.
Okay.
This is for all courses.
Wow.
Yeah. They're gonna leave it up to the instructor whether they want to have proctor testing, but they can't be enforced.
Right.
I think it came down to cost. I think the college just decided it's just not cost effective to do this for the whole year because we're going to have the same format for the spring.
Yeah.
As well.
Yeah. So I don't proctor my exams on Zoom like Janet is. So I am mixing things up, pulling from pools, asking probably harder questions than what would be, because I can't come to your house and take your notebook away and your computer away and your Desmos and your graphing calculator. So
it's insane.
So my questions have taken a whole new meaning, I think. So I do half on D2L and then half they have to have handwritten work for. So if they don't have any work, they don't get any credit. So if they are, trying to just grab something. Now, honestly, I teach a lot of non-STEM classes. So, math literacy, it's really not that hard to write a test that's very unique and that they can't go look at. Same thing with quantitative reasoning. Teachers, same kind of thing, right? Math elementary school teachers, like you can make all kinds of crazy stuff for them. So college algebra is a little harder. So some of my students from my last test would probably tell you that I overreacted a little bit because it was a little too hard, but honestly, they do have all the resources. So some of them did really well, and some of them I think were counting on the fact that, oh, she said she's not making us come on Zoom, and we'll see what happens. And it didn't turn out that well for some of them. So yeah. I don't know what I'll do when I have intermediate algebra in the fall. I just wrote that mastery exams down. Maybe I'll just try something like that, because intermediate was rough in the summer because they tried to cheat all the time. Yeah.
I had that last spring with the college algebra, and I really have concerns, and we're not doing any proctoring like like Michael said. I used to be able to have my online class be proctored, but they won't even let me do that now because we have so many online sections.
Right.
So I'm really concerned. My colleagues are using my math lab and just making it a timed test and then saying they have to upload their handwritten work, and they're only checking their handwritten work if they think that the students have cheated. So they're not even going in and looking at all of them. They're just looking at specifics.
Yeah.
And I just feel I know I'm not teaching, but I feel very anxious already. And from last spring, I felt very anxious, and I don't know, I'm tired.
Yeah. The time thing really does help, like narrowing it down. So, you know, it takes me probably a third of the time that I'm giving them to actually do the problems and write them out. So I do it myself to make sure. It's hard though too, because, you know, we're so good at the problems because you wrote them, right? So you're like, oh, I remember this, you know, select all these that are true. I'm like, oh, I wrote that problem. Of course I remember those answers, right? But I try to like think about for them, you know, like they're, what would happen. I do go onto Zoom in case they have questions. So some of them came on, some of my classes, nobody came on. I told them ahead of time that they're not all going to have the same question, and it's not all going to have the same version of the same question. So they kind of knew that ahead of time, but they'd come on and they'd be like on Zoom, they're like, okay, so for number 12, I'm like, tell me what it's about, because I got no idea what number 12 is. I can't see your number 12. So you're not having a paper that you're showing to me. So most of it was just those kids that usually come up to you in class and want to try to get an answer from you because they're like, oh, I'm confused. You know, I don't understand this thing. And I'm like, no, that's the question. There's no typo, promise.
Julie, because yours are being randomly done, are yours being automatically graded too then?
So yes and no. So it depends. And it depends how smart I am about the settings in D2L. So you can kind of give partial credit like ahead of time. Like if you're going to anticipate, you know, that they're going to select a certain answer, you could, but you still go in and I hand grade those problems. I check the stats on them. And if it's like a short answer, you've got to go in and check them anyway. Or as I do a lot of that, or have you do something else with the answer. I learned that from Ryan's calc teacher from the spring. So, you know, take this answer and then do something else with it. Sometimes they forget to do that. So I would give partial credit for that. But yeah, I go in and give partial credit, and then I grade the handwritten part, and then I put it together. So yes, it takes a little bit, but I feel like it's a little bit, you know, it's a little bit more even-handed. If I did it all on D2L, I think they'd all fail. You know, and if I did it all written, I think they would probably, their grades would be inflated a little too much. So it's about half and half.
Julie, in addition to timing the test, this is what I use, but I do use the publisher provided, you know, material for statistics, and it has worked, you know, last semester. I pull the question, so every single objective, I want to ask a question, there will be 10 or 15 different questions. So that's guaranteed. No two students are going to see the same question.
Right.
So if you pull the question and you time it, I think you'll cover 50 or 60%, you know, just of the case, you know. And in statistics, I find it also that it is hard to go on a website and try to figure out, you know, just answers. It's not like a math where you have to input a quadratic form equation, you know, and get, you know, the solution. So it's statistics, it doesn't work, you know, just that way. You give them a box plot and you ask them questions about it, you know, that Google is not going to answer that.
Right.
And we do require them, you know, just to log into Zoom, although I don't know how much you can see. You see their faces. You cannot require them to scan a room or anything. But as an added, you know, just security, just to tell them that there is someone, you know, just watching you. I mean, there had been, you know, just incidents in the past where I noticed, you know, unusual movement. So I do ask the students what's going on, but I don't know how effective would that be.
Yeah. I did weight my test less too.
Yeah, we were doing that.
Yes.
More projects and discussion boards.
Yep.
A lot of discussion boards.
Yep. Yep. For sure. Hey, John, are you there?
Yeah, but I was muted because the coffee pot is warming up right now, and then well, I'm sure I could get my camera to work if I plug it in and unplug it and maybe get booted out of the Zoom meeting once or twice and so on and so forth, because that's how it's been with the college computer that they finally gave me like a week and a half after the semester started even. So I have been working with my personal laptop since like March, April, and then I finally got the college laptop after the fall semester already started, and there's an issue because it doesn't have enough USB ports for everything I need, and there's a docking station, and a lot of the devices don't work if plugged into the docking station, and they have to be plugged in directly into the laptop. And so I could use it without the docking station, but then there's another issue with that, because it has a special, it's not a USB docking station, it's a traditional docking station. So there's not very many ports even if I take off the docking station. So I spent the first like 4 weeks of the semester, and we're now in week 6, but like 3 or 4 weeks, having the Zoom sessions crash because of the camera issues. And so then after week like 3.5 or 4, I realized that they were crashing because of the camera not being plugged directly into the laptop and being plugged into the dock. And so I fixed that, but now I can't use my mouse during the Zoom session because it's a USB mouse. So I have to choose between my mouse and my webcam. So I really, some days I feel like this is just a big scam, and
So you're choosing your mouse over connecting with us?
No, I did
choose,
actually no, but the thing is that I do choose, like right now the webcam is plugged in, but then I was just in my office hours, which is why I was a little bit late, and then when I leave a Zoom session and come back, I have to unplug the webcam and plug it back in, and I forgot to do that. Yeah. So I don't know why this is, but it's a big mess. And so
right, my old computer was like that. I was plugging and unplugging in my camera all the time. I just bought a new computer, but
well, and this was a brand new computer, like, and so that's the thing is, like, I had a choice of getting, like, because I had a desktop at my office at the college, and like I had the desktop because I really like morally did not want a college laptop, because I didn't want the college to have this expectation that I would work from home. And now here we are. So now I traded that desktop in for a laptop, and the laptop doesn't work. And so I would have rather just continued to use my personal laptop and let them keep the desktop at the college for when I get back. But now I'm stuck with the laptop and I can't revert back to the desktop. So I am stuck eternally with the threat of working from home looming over my head now. And so I really feel in a way like bamboozled, to say the least, because when I agreed to return my like desktop for the laptop, they actually said to me that they're encouraging everyone to switch from desktop to laptops if they haven't already, because they're expecting most people, up to 80% of people, will end up working from home permanently now. So they don't expect a lot of us to even come back at all. And the IT guy said, and while you're here, you should make the appointment to clean out your office, because like when people realize what's going on, there might be a really long waiting list even to get into, to make an appointment to clean out your office. So the IT guy told me to go clean out my office now. So I'm like, well, this is unreal that they want me to go and clean out my office. And but I know that I'm in the same boat as my students. So I haven't went to clean out my office, but I did actually go back to campus on Monday morning at 8 a.m. because I had a student who this was her 4th class with me, and like 4th or 5th, and she started in like a pre-algebra, and she's in trigonometry right now. So she's one of those students that actually made it like somewhere, like made it out of the developmental math hole. And so she has been coming to my Zoom office hours, and I'm like, something is not right this semester. So I flat out asked her the other day, like, what is going on with you? Like, what is the problem? And she said to me that she did not have a printer at home. So I usually give them all of the handouts on the first day of class. I couldn't do that this semester. And so I said, well, can you like print like just the 4 pages even? And she said, well, I could go ask my neighbor, but that's sort of embarrassing. So I told her, well, all right, here's what we're going to do. I am going to figure out a way for you to get the handouts. And so I know that the college library is open, so I emailed them, and they're open by appointment only, but I said, can I like leave the handouts for a student at the front desk, and they can pick them up. And the librarian, bless her heart, because I know that she would not do this for anyone, but I know her, well enough that when she realized what I was doing, she said, yeah, you can leave them in an envelope with her name on it, and the student can come pick them up without an appointment. But this is one of the things that our students are struggling with. Like, they can't like print out the handouts. They can't they don't have the basic things at home. And so I'm not even worried about them like cheating, because some of them don't even have their basic needs met. And so I am thinking, if they can't even do that type of thing, then we have a big issue. So,
but that's a great question that you just brought up, John, is what are you guys all doing for a lot of us use a lot of handouts in class. Vilma, you're shaking your head. Oh, you're muted though. What are you doing for handouts?
We're distributing everything via Canvas. We use Canvas, so everything is in Canvas. And then I use a lot of Jamboards. I give my PowerPoints so they can handwrite the PowerPoints. I upload them as PDFs. They can annotate PDFs. Now, we're not requiring anybody to print anything because we, as John said, we cannot assume that they have any. Right. And we're making a big assumption that they have a camera. Like they have a thing that they can, have the Zoom on, and they can download things on their computer. So yeah. Right.
What about you, Sam? What are you doing do you have any handouts or no? Oh, you're muted.
Yes, we share them. We share them via electronic, means. Okay. We used to have a general handouts on our Learning Lab website, but we took them off because of accessibility, issues.
Right.
Now we're trying to do it, internally through our college. We use Moodle, to communicate with the students. So it's been all electronic, as Vilma, just stated. So.
Yeah. Mike, do you have any handouts for your students?
Yes, the college usually complains how much printing I request. So I'm sure they're saving a lot of money this semester, the college, from not printing for the faculty. But I have handouts every day for students, and they're just like Sam said, they're being distributed electronically,
right?
Which is great,
right?
So the students don't have. I mean, the only thing I've thought about that might be concerning for students is, I would like to see students graph by hand, and putting graph paper as required in the core syllabus is a problem. So yeah, so
I went old school, you guys. Back in the 80s, this is how we survived, right?
Did you mail that to all your students?
No, they buy it from the bookstore. So like they can graph, like you're talking about a graph. You know, I had the grid in there so they could make a nice graph or a pie chart or whatever. It's been awesome. Awesome. Yeah.
That
Julie,
is
does
an
the
awesome
college,
idea.
do they deliver to the students, so students order online and they get, their,
They've been ordering it online at the beginning of the semester. And this one I think was like $8 and some cents. It was cheap.
Yeah.
Even with the fancy binding. So
That's so awesome.
yeah.
Our campus is open too. I realize John is saying his isn't open. Are you guys' campuses open, or like our library's open? We have face-to-face classes for some of the subject areas.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Our campus is open, but you have to have you have to go through a health screening survey before. So, but yeah, I mean, as long as you do that, you check in with security, you're allowed on campus for the day.
Yeah, same here.
and for us, we're not welcome on campus unless there's something important to do, or if you're teaching a face-to-face class.
Wow, we don't even have a screening other than self-screening. I mean, our campus is open. You can come, you can walk around campus, you can go to the library, you can hang out in the cafeteria that is open also.
Yeah.
Julie, what about you guys and Janet?
Go ahead, Janet.
Well, they say that the library is open and so forth, but they're constructing at our campus. They made us move out this summer, and they've demolished our office area. And I mean, what a time to do it. I mean, it's way better to do it now when nobody's there,
Right,
than if we were trying to be there and get this, I mean, they would have still made us move out, but we didn't have any place to go.
Right.
So my back room is a better place to be than the classroom all day, or,
Yeah.
you know.
I know. I almost could be jealous of all the renovations at Auburn, but I finally got my new furniture and whiteboards for my active learning classroom in May that I can't use. But sometime I will be back in class, and all the tables have wheels, all the chairs have wheels. I've got those boards that hang on the desk and hang up on the wall. I'm so excited. I got an easel. I can't wait to go back. I can't wait. Someday.
My college let every full-time faculty decide how they wanted to teach, and all the adjuncts have to be online, but we have lots and lots of classes that are face-to-face.
Wow.
That they're going in every day and meeting, and
So, but are you guys small enough that you can do that and not, because you're not packing them in the room, right?
They downed our class size from like 28 to 22.
Oh, that's it. Okay.
We're not really 6 feet apart, in my opinion.
Okay.
But of course, I'm not in the room either.
Right.
We're also using Microsoft Teams and not Zoom, and that makes me a little anxious because I think almost everybody else is using Zoom.
Using WebEx, which I hate, but
Yeah.
Is that because of the college, Mike?
yeah, it's through D2L.
Okay.
Yeah, well, my college, we have a choice of Canvas conferences or Zoom or Microsoft Teams or whatever you can get your hands on. So my college really has not been very picky. It's just that the ones that are approved by the college that they will help us with if we need it are those 3. So
Our tech support will only do Teams. So.
Yeah, so I've been using Zoom because we have Canvas integration for it. We have Canvas integration for Teams, but I have to create a graded assignment that in Canvas for each Teams meeting. And because it's a Teams meeting, the Teams meetings are set up to discuss that assignment. So they're not meant to be set up as class sessions. And so then I would have to assign a grade to that class session, and I really don't want to do that. And I can't do recurring meetings that way. And so Zoom, it's one link all semester.
Right.
So, I think that's another issue. And also, I would be interested in hearing about how everyone's doing office hours, because I'm doing Zoom office hours, but because of the Canvas integration, I can't have the same Zoom office hour like for every class. So I have to have them go to a separate link that's not the one that they normally go to for the class sessions. So then this is confusing for them too.
That's how we're doing it. There is a different Canvas course that is called the Math Lab. And that's where we book all our office hours through the Math Lab. And they are open to everybody. So I have to offer 3 office hours. And that's how we book them. So yeah, I show up there and people join from any section.
Okay.
And yeah, so it's a different, but it's like they created a different course. And then in that course, you have all your Zoom meetings. It's I don't know. You know.
That's crazy. Yeah.
Weird. This is strange, but it works because I can also get a little calendar invite in my calendar. So the only thing I have to go is open my calendar, click the link, and magically the thing happens. So yeah.
You gotta love it when it's magical like that.
Magical, right?
Yes, yes. Yeah. Sam, you said you had a lot of people coming to your office hours. What are you doing to get them to come, or make it easy for them to come? Well, you're still
every time I hold office hours, I send a reminder, a friend reminder, every time with the link, and I said, I'm waiting for you.
I love it.
Build them into.
So it happens 3 times a week. I meet with them 1 hour, 2 hours. They get 3 emails from me each time. All 15 minutes prior, you know, so I have all their names saved, you know, just in Outlook, and there you go.
Boom.
So you're sending just an email, Sam?
Yeah,
as a reminder?
With the link. Although the link doesn't change from the day 1 until the last day of the semester.
Neat.
I do remind them of that.
That's good.
Are you using yours in Zoom also for your office hours, Sam?
Yeah. We use Zoom for office hours. However, I do some tutoring in the Learning Lab, and we are required to use Teams, Microsoft Teams. I can share an experience with you guys. I haven't had a student who was able to sign into Teams without any issues. They don't understand that they have to log into the system. You have to be in the system in order, you know, to use Microsoft Teams. And a lot of students try to get through that without signing in, you know, to our college portal, and it doesn't work this way. So you always have to figure out, you know, some issues, you know, around, you know, Teams. Well, I mean, if you ask me for my preference, I prefer Zoom, although Teams has some other added features because you can link it to Microsoft Office products, you know, but.
Right. Wow.
I think I'm actually going to take your advice, Sam, and start sending reminders to the students and also myself. Minutes before I have to actually do office hours. I should reset.
Oh, something happened to me. Because of the strike, we had to sign up for more office hours, and I had signed up for an office hours a Sunday at 8 p.m. And I, of course, totally forgot. So I go, you know, open up my email the next morning and said, I have like 15 emails from people who tried to join my office. I'm like, oh no, sorry, I'm so sorry.
Oh no.
8 p.m. on Sundays.
But of course,
I could have done it. I mean, I was just preparing class, but I didn't check my calendar, didn't check my email, just doing my problems.
But that's when the students want to do it too, of course, all those crazy times like that.
You know. Like, yeah, like really?
The time of day that I'm exhausted at that point, right? I'm done.
I know, I'm ready to go to bed.
Yes.
Well, so the one thing that I found that was it has been helpful about the Zoom office hours is that I use the Zoom integration, like Google Calendar, to set up all of them. And so because they're already like all scheduled in my calendar, I get little Google Calendar pop-up notifications. But I also, because like Mike said, I'm usually checking my email or something else during my normal office hour time anyway. If a student comes into the office hour, Zoom emails me and says, this person has just joined your Zoom room and is waiting, and then I go and I jump on. But that makes it so that I don't have to sit in that Zoom room if no one's going to show up that day. So it does help with that. And because it's really the same Zoom link all the time, I have seen students, I get a notification at 1 or 2 a.m. Hey, this person had joined. And so this has also given me insight into when they're actually doing their work. You know, so but I do get like the same, like 3 or 4 students this semester who are coming to these online office hours. So it is actually helping some students who are taking advantage of it though. So.
Well, when I originally had this all planned out in August, that I would have, D2L has this chat room feature. And I thought, okay, I'll use that for the office hours. And if they want to have a one-to-one, we can schedule for WebEx. Well, the chat doesn't actually keep a history. Every time you sign out, it disappears, which that defeated that purpose. So the students either email me or they send me questions through the homework system. But then I don't really hear from them other than that.
Right.
Are you guys all required to keep the quantity of office hours that you used to have? Like our contract was 7 hours and they're expecting us to have 7 hours of virtual office hours now.
Yeah, for us, we are, if our classes are synchronous, but if they are asynchronous, whatever policy you have for those classes. But we're assuming that synchronous classes are very much comparable, you know, just to face-to-face classes, and that's why there is still this requirement. But if you don't meet 100% online with your students, you can cut them down, you know, just a little bit. Ours is 2/3 of our teaching load, so we're required to do 10 hours of office hours a week.
10?
Yeah.
It's a lot.
2/3 of 15, yes. So it's 10.
Wow.
Ours is contractually 7.
Oh, but yeah.
And it doesn't matter what kind of teaching. We are contracted 7 hours of office hours a week,
Oh.
no matter what.
No, ours is a percentage. It's 2/3, you know, just of your teaching load. Regular teaching load, not extra contractual or overtime.
Ours is 1/4, so 4 credit or 16 credits, so 4 hours a week is what we're contracted for.
Oh, wow. Does that affect if you have overload too then, Mike?
It's the, yes, for overload, if you go like 20 hours and you still do 1/4.
Okay.
Oh. Yeah, we do 1/3 normally, but right now we have a free pass. Janet, is that right?
I like free passes.
I was wondering why I was doing so many hours, you know.
Yeah, I like my college is like 5 hours. 5 hours. It's not even like a fraction or anything. 5 hours flat. And but this semester they gave us an option to do virtual office hours, and they don't even have to be live. It could be 5 hours where like you're guaranteed to respond to an email or whatever it might be.
Yeah, we've been told we don't have to be live, but we have to be available. And then as you know, I'm not teaching this semester, but I have colleagues that have said, like, administration have sent them an email during when was supposed to be their office hours to see if they were available for the ones that they're trying to catch cheating.
But what if they were meeting with a student? Then you wouldn't answer an email.
Well, but you're supposed to be available is what their argument is.
But if you're with a student, that would take precedent. I would never read an email when I was working with a student. I mean, that's crazy. Crazy. Yeah. No, I do mine by appointment only. So I have a block of time every afternoon that I have available. And sometimes they take me up on it and sometimes they don't. I had more, I think, this summer, just with how fast everything was with the 10-week class. I saw more students, but like I've got a couple of appointments for tomorrow for students. I have them sign up in 15-minute blocks. I let them take 2 if they want to, but that's it. Because some of them, you know, would monopolize the whole thing and then no one else would get a turn. So yeah, and I send them a different link. I send them a unique link. I have them scheduled through Doodle, and it goes right to my calendar, so I know it's going to be there. And send them a link. I have them do it 4 hours in advance though, so that I've got time to go read my email and set those meeting up and all that. But I got people that
You're so amazingly organized. Some of us are nearly as organized as you are, sweetie.
Like
well, I'm just too anal about that stuff. Go ahead, Mike. Sorry.
Like, I'm just thinking with all the logistics that goes along with teaching online, it just seems like, why don't I have a personal assistant? Like, take care of all this. Like, if a student sends me an email, I'll have you schedule the meeting for me. But no, we have to do all the logistics as well. So yeah, that's a lot of time.
It is. It is. It is a lot of time, for sure. For sure. The whole thing is time consuming. Everything on like, so many things are just easier face to face. And the way that we've done it for me, 30 years, right? Like there's the way that you've done the same thing. It's not the same anymore. No. All right. Did you have more thought-provoking questions for us? I was going to say, I see you're reading.
Let's see. We hit on almost a lot of these things, but
okay.
Let's see. We talked about assessment for testing.
Right.
How is your college supporting students in their learning online environment? Like John touched about the libraries open, and Janet talked about the libraries open, but is there anything else? Like at LCC, yeah, the campus is open, but I don't think students are taking the college up on that offer. If they don't have to be on campus, they won't. The only thing that LCC is doing is students can come into the parking lot and get access online. That's about it, I think. So I'm just wondering what your all's colleges are doing to support students.
Our college has offered laptop loaners, and we are open, so they can come into the library. We have our tutoring center is still open, but they do have to make appointment schedules, but they physically can walk in and get one-on-one tutoring in our tutoring lab still. I mean, we really are open, which I think is a little crazy, but oh, I shouldn't have said that. We're recording.
It's fine. I forgot about that. We are doing the laptop loaner program, but no, our tutoring lab has become virtual.
Yeah,
so
not ours.
It's like certain times every day they're just open all the time. No, I don't know how that works, but I guess they just have the Zoom or the WebEx up all day. Yeah. I don't know.
We have a third-party vendor for doing online tutoring, but our in-house tutoring is still face-to-face.
We use, Michael, we use a third-party software called NetTutor, where students, they have a link they can go to and schedule an appointment. And we do virtual tutoring by appointment and walk-ins. I do a couple hours in the learning lab a week, so students would have to schedule an appointment first. And then at the time of the appointment, just I send the student a message that I am available, and I ask him to join me into the conversation. And we do have the option to walk in and let the instructor know that there is that the student needs help, and then to ask him and send him an invitation. It hasn't been busy, be honest with you. There are times, just where I'm scheduled to do an hour or two, and I get only one student or two students. I get more students in my office hours than through the learning lab. I'm not sure why, whether students don't need it, don't know how to use it, or I have no idea. We're trying to collect data and see how this is going to work out at the end of the semester.
It's probably because you didn't invite them 15 minutes before you're going to be
Probably so. Probably so.
Our support services for students are all online, but they can come to campus from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. to use Wi-Fi or to print. So they just have to take the health screening, mask up, go in, and there's certain locations on each of the campuses that they can attend. So.
Oh, my college sent out masks to all of our students that say KCC or Bruins.
Yeah.
3,000 mailing masks.
Yeah.
I was told.
Yeah, we got masks. Janet, did our students get masks?
I don't think so. but they don't fit very well. So it's not very good. But they aren't they giving away laptops?
Yeah, they were. Yeah.
So
Giving?
I don't,
Giving
yeah.
away.
Loaning.
No, giving.
Giving away.
Wow.
It was a certain number and they had to qualify, have certain qualifications and number of credits that you are taking and have taken at OCC, but yeah, they were giving them away.
That's impressive.
Mhm.
They were using some of the COVID funds
Yep.
from something or other to do that.
Yep. So I know I have around 120 students and there's only one person I've never seen on camera. And it's because he's waiting for his laptop to come from that program. So he's like, I'm not buying a webcam, Gokuman, I'm getting one of those. I'm like, all right. I want to see your face someday, kid.
Do you guys have problems at all with not seeing them and knowing if they're really there and participating? Because I had that last spring. I'd have people who say they were there and then I never hear them and I never see them. And
well, then you're not there. So you're not there. I switch between the rooms so often and they never know when it's going to be, that you really can't, because you have to actually click to go to the room. So if students don't go to the room, I just eventually kick them out of the meeting. So you're not there, you're not getting credit. And I do give credit for, I do give little points for coming. That's how my attendance rate's like 95%.
Yeah.
And that's
Julie,
presumed,
let me tell you what I guys do, because I was concerned about attendance. Students would log in and leave, and then come back toward the end of the session.
Right.
So I'm using a third-party software called Socrative.
Okay.
And this is you create the quizzes, and students, all they need to download the app, just and put
Right.
the room number, and they're ready, just to go. So I do take attendance at the beginning of the session, and then in the middle of the session, I ask them a few questions, because I do control the app and how to run the quiz.
Right.
And then toward the end, 5 minutes before the end, and it's graded.
Yeah.
System will grade it, and will send them a report. It's very nice, piece of software.
Yeah.
You should guys try it out, it's called Socrative. And it has been working. I started with the 28 students, and then it went down to 22 because I was not using the app. And then when I told the students, I'm gonna revive, just this, because it's in the syllabus. We're gonna start using it, and then the attendance is up almost to perfect. I lose 1 or 2 students, not just each time.
Yeah. I'm also giving group quizzes so they come to class.
Oh.
feel free to share any of your college algebra stuff from any of you, because that's going to be one of my big courses next semester, that Calc 1 and Calc 2.
Yeah.
That actually brings up another one of my questions. How does your college limit how many preps or new preps that you're given under this current situation?
No.
Because like we as at LCC, we kind of took like the program faculty chairs, kind of looked at it and go, okay, we won't give any new faculty more than 2 new preps because that's under the contract. But we're going to try to make sure that you will also use the materials of this fall for the spring. So we'll schedule you for the spring for the same courses.
Yeah.
So that way the spring will be much easier all around, I'm hoping.
No, I have 5 preps next semester.
My.
I currently have 3, but one of our full-time faculty has said they don't want to teach differential equations. And since I'm the only other person at our college who's ever taught it at our college, I'm guessing I'm going to have that class too. So I'll end up with 4 preps next semester, I'm guessing. And that's because a full-timer said, I don't want to do it. And I'm like, seriously?
I'm in that same position though. Like, but Anna, I got stuck with, no, not stuck with, but like, I don't want to say it like that, but like, because it, like I said I would do it if needed, but differential equations and linear algebra. So
I'll have that next semester, John. We can commiserate together.
Oh my
I
gosh.
I mean, I do have a tentative plan for the differential equations. I'm not sure about the linear algebra yet, but the differential equations, I have a mental plan up here of what I think it will look like, but you know, like you just never know. Like
Won't you have the same kind of, like the same students in both? Because they usually take them same time, most students.
No, they usually don't. No, like I think on average, like we just saw the overlap numbers because we were trying to get next summer schedule together. On average, under 100 students per semester, like take more than one class.
Math
So-
or just overall?
Math.
Yeah, overall in math, yeah. More than one math class per semester. So like that could be like like even if they take like a beginning algebra in the first 8 weeks, they still usually wait till the next semester to do intermediate rather than doing intermediate in the second 8 weeks. So like offering those 8 weeks isn't really doing what we intended it to, which was to get them both in the same semester. So I don't know like what you say to that, but once you have that data, you might as well not offer the 8 weeks ones because it's actually doing them more harm if they're not following up and doing it in the second 8 week like we intend for them to.
Mike, at our school, differential equations and linear algebra is one course. So you're right. At least at our college, that group is taking that entire, even though they're 2 topics, and I refer to it as Calc 4, even though it's really not. But so, John, are they separate at your school?
Oh yeah. So the linear algebra prerequisite is only Calc 1.
Oh my gosh.
So I actually tell my students in Calc 1 to take it after Calc 1 and not wait, because you can get it done, you know, like get it done and get it out of the way, because you'll have Calc 2 coming along at some point, and you'll have Calc 3 coming along at some point, and you'll have differential equations coming along. Get your linear algebra out of the way since you can, you know, because a lot of them have discrete math, which only had a college algebra prereq up until last semester when we changed it to Calc 1. So it is, you know, it is what it is. I'm teaching discrete math right now, and they're doing just fine. Like it's one of those classes where I have them in the Zoom breakout rooms, and then they go to the breakout rooms, and then they come back, and they don't know what I'm going to do when they come back. So some days it will be the pop-up polls. Some days it will be type your answer in the chat. Some days it will be I pull up the whiteboard and call on people to write things out. Some days it's like, all right, I want everyone from this group to take turns explaining the answer, and you have to actually turn on your audio or your camera, whatever, but I have to at least hear you. And they don't know what method I'm going to use to have them report out. So they're really on edge. Like they know that when they go to the breakout rooms, we have to do something, because we're gonna be that group that is called on this time, and we won't know what we're talking about. And the same for my trig class. Like they sort of are with the program. My Calc 2 class is out in, you know, left field somewhere, and I can't get half of them to, you know, do what they're supposed to be doing. But it is what it is. I think it's just that group though, since the other 2 groups it's going just fine. But I've been trying every single different new thing that I can find, like Pear Deck, or like which that didn't go so well because it requires them to have an email address to log in, and this and that, because I figure, you know what, like if anything, this semester the students are going to be a little bit more forgiving probably, but by January they're probably going to think to themselves, you have 1 semester to figure this out, you better know what's going on. So I'm figuring out, like, I'm going to try everything with them this semester and see what works. So that's my plan.
Can I ask, how are all of you getting to see the students work when you're doing lifetime classes? How are they being able to visibly show you what they're doing? Are you using whiteboards? Are they using paper, pencil, taking pictures and uploading?
So it is actually for me. I'll say, Anna, it's like a variety for me. Like I do have them, like I have it so that they can upload a file into the Zoom chat even. So like sometimes they'll upload the files right into the Zoom chat, or I use Canvas groups where they have to, I have an upload to the Canvas group assignment, and then they I grade one of them, and the grade pushes out to everyone, you know. And sometimes I have them do the whiteboard during class. A couple of students have actually held something up to the camera. I've used there's GoBoard actually worked okay, except that you can only have 2 people on one time unless you pay. So that ended up not being very good for group work. But I've had them do a Google slide deck before, like where each group had to make a Google slide deck by the end of the class. So and you know, I can tell because if you go into Google Slides, who made edits on what page, and if they didn't at least type something in and they just stayed on page 1 the whole time, then I knew. So and then the Google Slides were interesting because they asked me, how do I type equations in Google Slides? And I said, I don't think you can, but you have to figure out how to get the equation in there anyway. So they managed to do something on their computer, do a screen snip and paste it in. But I told them I'm not going to tell you how to do it. You have to do it. So
I just put equatio in the chat. You can add that. Michael's shaking his head. Yes.
I just learned about that yesterday.
Yeah, I don't like it because it took over my browser. It showed up all the time. I had to close it, but but you can do that, and you can do that into the Google Jamboard. If you do, I think you have to kind of trick it though and put it in a Google Doc and then copy it and paste it in. I don't think you can actually just write the equatio in the Jamboard. But you know, some of my students are sharing that whiteboard in the Zoom, in the Zoom rooms when they're there. You can see them, when I pop in, you know, they're writing on it to try to figure out what's going on. Sometimes I'm just checking answers. I'm not even checking, it's not the same as walking around the classroom looking over their shoulder. It's just not. My prep work assignments, I have them turn those in for every lesson before class. So they turn them in at night. I grade them in the morning before class, and then I can see what they screwed up on, so that I've got something to talk about. That, you know, hey, look out for this. So today I had to go over a whole prep work assignment. I did all 3 problems in college algebra because it was a dumpster fire. So they just didn't know what was going on.
Oh.
So that's good information, but then that helped me figure out what to do for today, when I was with them today.
So I put another one in the chat, the awapp.com. So that one I like because they you can export it as an image or as a PDF. So I had my Calc 2 students collaborate on one of those, and then they had to download the PDF and then send it to me. So, you know, that worked out fairly well. My biggest problem this semester has been giving students in small groups a problem that I hadn't even talked about in class. And then, if I were there in person, I would have noticed it a lot sooner when there were a lot of students or a lot of groups looking puzzled. But since I can't see that, then this time I'm all right, well, let's I'll go to every room, and I usually am all right, do you guys have any questions, or does this group have any questions? And they're pretty good at like telling me like, no, we don't, or we really need your help, please don't go. And so I think the breakout rooms help, but I do think it's just really not the same as being there with them. It never will be.
Yeah, don't.
Janet, how do you see their work? Like, I have my handwritten question, or how do you have them interact?
When I'm in Zoom, I mostly just talk. And then I write on a OneNote and save it to a PDF and give it to them after class. Then they turn in worksheets with a PDF that I check. But I don't do the during class instant check things.
Anna, same thing applies to me. It is the course I'm teaching is a 60 credit hour course because it's a prerequisite course to support hours plus the 4 for the regular. And I only meet with them about 4 hours and a little bit, just live. So I won't have time even, to assign groups and have them work on activities and then report the work back. However, I let them share with me using the whiteboard if they want to share something with me. But I do give assignments, handwritten assignments, and students have to use an app on their smartphone, a Genius scan, scan their work, just and upload it through the college learning management system.
Okay, thanks. Mike, do you have any?
I'm teaching asynchronously for all classes. So I'm right. I mean, for quizzes and exams, I'm having the students upload their written, especially graphs, or like for college algebra, we do the difference quotient. I want to make sure they can do that by hand. But other than that, there's not much. I mean, in the spring, I tried collecting everything written, and it was and graded handwritten, and then sent it back, and that was a disaster. So this summer, I learned if I can only get them to do some problems handwritten, then that's what I'm going to just settle with.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate all you guys' opinions and things that have worked. And
Well, like I know some instructors at my college is having students use the equation editor within D2L, which is very time consuming. Like for me to make the quizzes and tests, it's just very time consuming for that, because you got to click the exponent button, you got to click the fraction button, and I can't see students doing that, and especially for timed assessments.
Right.
So
yeah.
So Michael, how does Equasio embed, just in those management system? I was trying it out. I like it. I just, how can this be embedded, or the output that you get in Equasio, you can put it somewhere else?
I just learned about it yesterday, so I don't know how I might use it.
Yeah, I haven't had students use it yet. One of our people at our access office is like our disabilities office. They wanted me to pilot it with a class. Oh. And, it would have to be a STEM class really to make it worth it. And I wasn't really willing to learn something new at that point of when she asked me. So, we're all kind of maxed out here.
Doesn't sound like you at all, Julie.
It doesn't, but you know what? I had to take a step back and do a little self-care this summer because it was just too much. So I said no. So then I found it, right? Like other people were talking about it. I'm like, well, I'll try it. But I really haven't, I've kind of found it a little bit clunky, even though it's supposed to have all these, awesome things. So I've got to play with it a little bit more. And I'm not convinced that it's really the way to go. Like, because the students are going to write out, like, normally they would write out math. And yes, there is a pen input on Equatio, but it's clunky. And not everyone's got a board like I do or Janet does or whatever. We don't all have that. So trying to write with your mouse is, a little bit bad, even in Equatio. Yeah.
So in the spring, I had my students would do handwritten work and then take pictures and then upload it. And then they would each write on, like when they were doing the small groups, on whoever uploaded the picture. And I'm hoping there's better ways to do this than what I was doing. It worked, but it wasn't the most time efficient, I think.
Yeah, it does take a while. That's why I leave that little gap, like Vilma was saying, like, you know, she leaves the gap to upload your handwritten work. I only have 10 minutes. I don't know what they're doing over there, but I only have 10 minutes for them.
Students, holy crap.
What's that?
When Velma said 1,600 students, I was like,
yeah. Yeah. Well, and I get nervous when I don't see the box filling, right? Like at the end of a test, because I'm not watching them on Zoom, right? So they're, you know, like watching the number come up, and I'm like, are we going to make it? We always make it. It's always fine. But I send them remind messages during the test so that it says like, oh, it starts in 15 minutes. Oh, you've got 30 minutes left. You've got 10 minutes left. You need to stop working and upload your work. So I've been very successful with that. I also remind them not to cheat when I like, good luck on your exam. It's time to start. Like, don't cheat kind of thing.
What software are you using to send the reminds?
Remind.
You
It's
are
an app called Remind. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anybody else using something they like?
I use Remind, but.
Yeah. Yeah. I like the remind, and I even send them remind. So when I give them the problems, I'll send them the answers, just the answers, not the work, via remind when they're in their breakout rooms. Because for some reason I can't communicate with my groups. I can't send them a file. I don't know if I have the wrong thing checked in my Zoom or what, but I can't like send a message to each breakout room unless it's broadcast to all. And so I'll send them the answers that I have for the problems that we're working on via remind, and then when we come back to the main room, I'm like, okay, what problems you want to see? And they never want to see them all. You know, they can whittle it down to, well, what do I really need help on? You know, I'll do that like when there's 5 minutes left of the breakout session, and then bring them all back. Okay, what do you need to see? So it's nice to communicate with them that way, I think.
I don't have any experience with Remind. I used GroupMe, but it was because a student set it up, and I really liked it, but I haven't spent the time learning any of those.
GroupMe, you have to, I think you have to know the number, or your number is shown. Like I don't see the students' numbers and they don't see mine, which I really like. What's one of the reasons why I like Remind.
Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say the same thing. I don't know how Remind does that.
Yeah.
But it's great.
Yeah.
It's very easy to use.
Yeah.
Very easy to use.
I've had students that have gotten a new phone number, you know, like they got a new phone and that new number, and then they come through and it's like, you know, Joe Smith, and it's, you know, Mary Jones. And she's like, what's going on? I'm like, somebody else had your number and used Remind already. We can change it. It's going to be fine. Yeah. Uh-oh, Sam, you're muted.
Anna, you and I should check out Remind. I never used it before.
Yeah.
We should get Julie and Mike to do a tutorial, quick video.
Oh, yeah, Julie and Mike, yeah.
Just join one of my classes. You can see how obnoxious I am.
Yeah, I mean, I got the advice from John when I asked him, but I could use Remind like every 15 or 30 minutes to the students, but they would hate it. So like a couple times a week, 3 times a week, students give me little thumbs up, and sometimes they give me confusing questions. Like I say, on quiz 3, number 4 was commonly missed, and this is what I saw a lot of. And they still give me a confusing message, and then I can message only that student.
Yep.
It really helps.
It does. It does.
I'm assuming you set up the class to start, and then you have like a code that you give out or something.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
I just haven't spent time on it. I haven't spent time this semester doing anything, out of all honesty.
The students have the option, and you do too, of having email notifications and or cell phone notification, text messaging notifications.
Right. Oh, that's nice.
And some students just turn off they just turn off the text messaging notification. You can check that in Remind. They turned it off, but they're still getting emails. So
yeah.
So they can't turn both of them off. They have to get something somehow.
Yeah. You are automatically signed up for the text messaging and the emails, but you can turn off the text. That's about it.
Do you have students who don't sign up at all?
Yeah, I do. But I was going to say
mine are points. Give them points, Mike.
No, I can't.
I do it all
stuff like that. I have a widget in D12 for Remind,
Yeah.
So I use it for basically announcements. So students sign into D2L, they immediately see all the remind announcements for the whole course.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like a history.
Yeah, you can embed it. I can't, but other people can. So yeah. Yeah. No, Anna, join my list. I put the link in the chat, and you can see like all the crazy stuff that I send my students for. That's my college algebra link. So John, are you going to join and harass me on Remind now or not?
So I won't, only because I actually need fewer text messages, so I'm trying to like not sign up for anything I don't need right now.
Yeah, so Sam, if you want to join, go ahead. You can see the crazy stuff I send my students. So I like it. I've been using it for a while though.
Send me a code already. Here you go.
It's in the chat. Yeah. And you can make your rooms, like mine's Gunk 1540. You can make it customized, which is kind of nice. But once you use it, don't shut it out, because then you can't get it back. So I found that out the hard way.
Same.
So now some of mine are JGunk and then the math.
For the first time I used Remind, I did LCC Math 120, and then I did what you did, and it went away.
Yeah. Well, you could get a whole bunch of weird people though too. Like if you just do math and then the number, you get all kinds of people that are in the wrong, they type the wrong code in, and like no one's gonna misuse gunk, right? Like nobody. So I'm pretty safe. I'm pretty safe with that. Yeah.
I'm trying to get in, Julie, but I'm not having luck.
Uh-oh.
Now that's my fault. It says I already have an account, and I'm trying to figure out my old account, and so.
Maybe you signed in with Google. Maybe your former self was smart and just authenticated yourself with Google.
Julie, it asks you to identify yourself as a student or teacher. What shall I put?
You can put that you're a teacher. I don't care. Because then when you make your account, then you don't have to go back and do it again.
Oh, I got you.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll try to get on later. I'm gonna not keep trying right now.
The other question I had was, what other, like we talked about Remind and other things that John talked about, what are other hidden tech gems that you've been using this semester, or something that you've seen that you think you're going to use next semester?
It's still, for me, really, it's still Pear Deck. If I can figure out a way to get like because I can't integrate with Canvas unless the department buys a site license. And otherwise, every student has to have either a Gmail account or an Outlook account. You know, so like if I tell them from day one, hey, you all have to have a Gmail account and log in, that's fine, but I don't want to change midstream and tell them all of a sudden out of nowhere, I want you to have a Gmail account if you don't have one. You know, so I like the Pear Deck because I can, well, the students actually loved it too, because it's all the types of questions you want to ask, and like the Socrative that Sam mentioned, except like the heat maps, I can put a graph and students can tap at a certain spot, or I can put like a polling question, like if you've seen poll everywhere, like they'll show up on the PowerPoint slide live for the answers as they come in, or whatever it might be. But I like that I can, once the PowerPoint is already going in Pear Deck, like add extra slides in, add extra questions in as it goes if I think that I need to add more in, or if something came up or whatever it might be. And so it's very convenient. It's just like a $20,000 price tag is a bit too much. So but it's free if you have students required to have a Gmail or an Outlook account.
We're not allowed to require students to have Gmail accounts. All we are allowed to do is require them to have the KCC account. We can't require anything else, which is why we're using Teams too.
We're required only to communicate with the students through their college provided email account. We have to put this language in the syllabus as well.
Yeah, I see your Jamboard, Julie, but I have never been able to get a Jamboard to work.
How come?
I don't know, like it always says something like a limit to this many people or this or that.
So yeah, I didn't have a problem with that. I made one for every group in my class. And then I was trying to find a Desmos one that would make sense for you guys of what I have been asking them in class. Maybe I should do a show and tell. Can I do a show and tell? Oh, I'm the one who got the share, right? I guess I can, let me find one that would be good. So this could be from my dumpster fire today. Maybe I should just do that one. Okay, I'll make my my students are going to be not real. I'll just tell you that right now. So what this looks like for the student is, you know, it's just a series of questions. And so the activity builder has got like a lot of things that you can just pull into it. And like this screen, I stole from somebody. And like this one, I edited so that I could kind of feel, like get a little sense of what they were doing. When you make, and I don't know how this works, because when you make the slider go to the one side, it makes the thumb bigger, or, you know, on the other side. So I didn't mess with the coding of that because I didn't know what I was doing. So I left that one alone. I asked them a little feedback or a little icebreaker because they were getting new groups today. So I asked them that question. You can ask them multiple choice questions. So like, what did you get for, you know, a certain problem? Let's see, what else did I ask them? Oh, the open-ended. This one says f of x on it because you can put in a function. So those are the things that I'm monitoring while they were in groups. And like this one, if you do the overlay, you can see where my students were fairly positive today. There were some tired and some were energetic, but by the time I told you this lesson was a dumpster fire, right? By the end, I think if I would have asked again, all those dots would have dropped because they were definitely exhausted by the end of our session, which was only like about an hour and 30 or 40 minutes today. It wasn't longer than that, but they were pretty stressed, obviously. So it's kind of cool that you can see like what they did along the way, like how they answered something. You can see that I have fake names in there. This one was really a no solution problem, even though you got -6 when you worked it out, because if you went and plugged it back in, it wouldn't work. So I could kind of see what was going on, even though I wasn't in all of those rooms. And so writing these is actually not as daunting as I thought it was going to be. I've gone to a couple webinars that like try to explain it, and usually they spend so much time showing you something like that. They would spend like an hour doing that and then only a half hour for you to actually write something. So I started copying other people's Desmos activities to learn how to do it. And it was so much easier than, because I tried 2 different webinars and I'm like, okay, I'm not even gonna give you a third strike on doing it. So I'm just trying to learn myself with adding those things in. And one of the things that I wanna do is add a picture in of the work. So I think I found a screen for that last night that I can copy from somebody so that hopefully I can see a little bit of that handwritten work that Anna was talking about earlier.
And this is in Desmos or Jamboard or both?
So that one was Desmos activities. Let me find a good link for you.
Well, I saw it on the URL that it said Desmos, but I thought you had been talking about Jamboard. So
I switched gears on you.
Okay.
Because that's what I do.
But it's not only me.
Nope, here you go. So that's where I've been getting, that's where I've been landing for the activities. And I actually decided to do my MichMATYC presentation. Now we're recording this and I have to stick with it, right? I decided to transfer my MichMATYC presentation to a Decimals activity to make it more interactive, so that people will be asking them things along the way, and hopefully that works out, hopefully. So, yep. Any other little gems? You guys all know me pretty well. I'm just going to keep trying something until I like it. I'll just keep trying something new.
Well, I'm walking out today with the 3 new gems, so that's a great,
Yeah.
This has been really nice to just see you guys.
I'll tell you what I've been doing, guys. But during the summertime, I spent some time, probably a couple months, creating what we call the light board. Have you heard of the light board, which is a piece of glass you can write on? And,
oh, yeah, yeah.
And a camera will record, the screen, and then you flip it later.
Right.
So I created one. It took me 2 months to create,
oh my.
And I just started to use it to create, some short videos. I mean, the light board, guys, if you don't know about it, it's just a piece of glass. You use a special ink, just to write on the glass. The great advantage for it is the students will see your face rather than seeing your back, because you stand behind the screen and the camera on the other side, just will record you. You have to do a lot of video post-production, and rendering after that. But with the quality, just, and the instructor is like, looking at the students and facing the students, I think it was worth the investment. I just started creating short videos, so I have a few, and I want to see how students are going to respond, to this. And if I get some good positive feedback, I will create more. It did cost me a lot of money. I'm trying to have the college pay for it now, because it is for school. I mean, there's not much entertainment, just out of this. So I will send you a video and share,
Yeah, that'd be great. We have a studio at OCC at Janet's campus, but I haven't used it yet.
Yeah, it's, you know what, the commercial one, online, they sell them, for like, $10,000. I created one, and a professional one with a digital camera. It cost me less than $1,500.
Wow.
Project. It was
I want to see it. I want to see it.
Thinking, how to set up 150 pounds of glass, on a table and all of that. But
wow,
it's the college was thinking of investing in one, and actually our vice president told me once that he's ready to spend about $10,000 on this. So I shared the video with him, and I said, well, I did one, and if you're still thinking of one, I can support or assist, the college,
yeah,
because I did a lot of research on this. Yeah, I'm looking forward, just to using it more and learning more about how to control, just the digital camera, because it's all about the lighting, just
right.
How to set up, the digital camera and figure out, the perfect settings so you can get, just an optimal, just image.
Right.
So it was, I mean, I think students will like it. I haven't shared any video because I'm waiting to create a few more, just, and then sharing all together, with students.
I would love to see it at some point, Sam. This sounds really amazing.
I'll share a few, just with you guys.
Okay. All right. Well, what else we got, Chief?
That was pretty much, we hit pretty much every single question that I had. So
okay.
The other thing I want, like, before we finish, is that what are some things that you would like to hear about? Because this is just the first webinar in a series I'm hoping for. So like a meetups and sharing. So what are some topics that you would like to hear about, like more focused?
Michael, I can tell you that the hot topic at our college, and we created a task force, just to tackle, this topic, is academic, just integrity. So assessment, and stuff. I think if we can bring, you know, just some expertise and even sharing information. I mean, it was great, you know, just we're walking out, you know, just with great things, great ideas, you know, just even out of 6 or 7 of us today. So imagine if it was a group of 20 or 30 or 40 or 50.
Right.
But if we can have some people also, you know, shed light, you know, on this and offer some ideas. I volunteer to be on that task force so I can learn from this and then take some ideas back to the college as well, you know, just on this. Because it seems like this is something we're going to be stuck with for a while, you know, just it's not ending sometimes.
Yeah.
I always feel like I learned so much from you guys. I am so appreciative of you sharing and your knowledge. I really am. My only suggestion might be to just, not suggestion, but for future ones to maybe try to focus on a specific topic. This
That's
has
what I'm
been
hoping for.
wonderful, and MichMATYC was wonderful for me, and they're actually going to start doing this because Turi brought up, oh, MichMATYC is doing these wonderful get-togethers like once a month. Anna, tell us more. And I'm like, I can't tell you more. I don't know. So Turi and MichMATYC are going to start meeting once a month also. But theirs, I think, is more social hour. But in part, I think one of the things for me is just knowing people are in the same boats and what they're doing to get through.
Right.
I know that I'm different than most of you right now because I'm not teaching, but I feel so isolated. And so this really helps me and
Right.
keeps me a little more grounded. My anxiety is just through the roof because I'm just terrified of not knowing what I'm doing or how I'm going to do it well. And a lot of the colleagues at my school are just like, well, we're doing the best we can. Oh, well. And I'm like, I want to do better than that. I want to not just do.
But
So
don't give
Anna,
yourself,
like,
oh, go ahead.
oh, I was going to say, Anna, like, if it helps any, because I had a sabbatical last fall, like, I haven't completed a full semester on campus in like over a year and a half. So if it helps you feel better at all, Anna, like one semester off is not going to do you in. Like, I'm sure that you'll get back at it, and it will be just fine. Like this past, like January semester, I had come off of the sabbatical thinking I wanted to implement inquiry-based learning, and that got uprooted. So I think that, you know, like you'll come back and it will be exactly the same. Like you'll have to like problem solve and figure it out. And I think as a like it's what you said. Like it's helpful to know that we're all in the same boat. And like I sort of like just all of a sudden, like at the end of the semester, the final grades are entered, and I have no idea how that happened sometimes. So you know, like I think we all get through it, and it
Right.
ends up being okay. And I don't know if that helps any, but I know that like it is different, like knowing that you're not going to be on campus when you come back, but at least it will help to maybe be able to prepare for that.
Yeah. I think it's so much better now than it was for the summer semester. Like I feel so much calmer because I've done it already now once. So I think it'll get better. Like I think I can't say that it's comfortable. Like I'm happy, you know, I would rather be, you know, on campus with students and all that, but it feels better than it did in May, for sure.
We're better prepared for it.
Yeah. Yeah, I know, but you'll be fine. You'll be fine. You got all of us.
I know. Thank you.
Anna, a question: are those meetings, you know, at different states, you know, just open to everybody? I wonder, since now we can join in meetings, you know, just at a distance. So
if it helps any, IMAC just announced their 3 fall dates today. So I haven't registered for them because I was trying to figure out from them first what the time zone is, because I think it might be Central Time, but they didn't say.
It is
because
Central.
I had the MichMATYC time mixed up because they didn't tell me until the night before it was Central Time.
Sam, they are open to anybody. with MichMATYC, because of their bylaws and whatnot, they had to have an X amount of people who were actually at the MichMATYC meeting last year to run the business meeting. And we hit whatever that number was. I had actually considered skipping. John and I are both technically MichMATYC members because we go to their conference. So it's kind of like MichMATYC, but they need, Turi and Jason needed us to be able to do officially their business meeting. Now, Turi at one point was like, I don't know that I care. We got 12 of us here. This is awesome. We're going to do it no matter what. But we really did fit their bylaws. But they're open to anybody. So the IMAC ones got posted on Facebook today, I noticed, like John just said. And then I can forward you guys the MichMATYC one, or John can, if you guys are interested in joining them. Theirs is going to be, I believe, much more social. I think that theirs, it was interesting because they were just like, oh my gosh, just seeing other faces of people who can understand what I'm going through.
Right. Yeah.
And
And theirs was only an hour.
A
Too.
little more cheers and beers, or no?
Yeah.
and also MichMATYC has theirs listed on their website in their two Fridays a month of virtual, they're calling it virtual happy hour, and they're scheduled all the way through December already. So they're out there, and the MichMATYC had their fall conference last weekend. So people are doing things, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm hoping that this will be more focused, like a certain topic this time and another topic next time, and this can extend the whole year. Like I was thinking, maybe this is too far into the fall semester to really get any benefit, but no, it's not. We're getting new things all the time that we can start implementing for the spring now.
Right. Or my poor students who get something new every day. So. All right, I'm going to go ahead and hit the stop button. Where's that? Oh, here it is. For the recording anyway.